Hello everyone. My name is Shin Kubota. I'm come here from Wakayama, south of Kii Peninsula, about 3 hours by train. Very beautiful place, surrounded by a tropical sea. Please come to our laboratory because we have a very nice aquarium. So next time, please, in a eco tour, visit our laboratory, please. 先生よろしくお願いします。My major research is systematics, a kind of biology. This ultimate purpose is to resolve the origin of species and accumulate the knowledge of great diversity of every organisms. But my major is usually animals, particularly jellyfish or medusa. Do you know medusa, jellyfish? Have you ever eaten medusa? You don't. Like Chinese, we Japanese eat jellyfish very often. Very delicious. And now, medicine demonstrated jellyfish contains a very good collagen and many good medical resources for prevent from cancer. It's true. But my major is systematics is a very fundamental and basic study in the world. And my study is very primitive, but directly connected to the field. Beautiful sea. I go to every day and here, small plankton net, filter the seawater and find very tiny jellyfish, very tiny, cute. This is hero or heroine of my story. And next, in the laboratory, I culture jellyfish grown up like my child. Very cute. I want to talk a lot, but today's my focus is immortal medusa and very ephemeral medusa. This is my story. For background knowledge, I'd like to show you, do you know how many animal species exist now, including us? Can you count this number? 1,450,000 species described by specialists, animal specialists. Very huge. And medusa belongs to phylum Cnidaria, together with corals, sea anemones. Do you know sea anemone and corals? And jellyfish is the same animal and belongs to the Cnidaria. Cnidaria means a stinging animal. Maybe you injured by a jellyfish. But in the future, the poison become good medicine. And the first Nobel Prize for using jellyfish is anaphylaxis. About 100 years ago, already used as a Nobel Prize material. Now, medusa in the present world, only 1,200 species recorded at present. But in the deep water, new species are found. So increasing. And oppositely, several species are different developmental stage and very different in form. So they must treat one species. So these are my studies. So what is species and what is the form of characteristic form of species? I describe by culture and field work. maybe you know the Medusa and look already observed in the sea. This big one, Medusa like this, it's a #1 big giant Medusa from China. Very regret to say, Chinese researchers already back to their home. Maybe they know. It's very edible and delicious. I already eat. It's 2,000 kilograms and 2-meter diameter, very big. If you can catch, you cannot pick up. But these are from someone from Australia? Please, Australia? Ah, do you know this Medusa? Irukandi? You know Irukandi? Ah, please take care of this box jellies. If you touch, you sting, you shake hands, you will die. Sure. Many human beings died by this box jellies. Very poisonous jellyfish, but only 15 species in the world. But Australia has plenty of this species, very much. So, this one is today's subject. This is the immortal Tortopsis. This is a very ephemeral Eugymnantia, my two favorite jellyfish in the world. And in the world, this such a very tiny 1 millimeter, 2 millimeter, very cute species are very diverse. About 1,000 species already described. Big ones only 200, below 200. And totally 1,200. One another background. Please remember, 5 million and 6,000 years ago, on the origin of life, Medusa appeared on Earth as the first multicellular animals on Earth. Do you know this? But it's mysterious Medusa. Its offspring is not certainly no, but it's fossils all over the world you can observe. This is the Ediacaran creature. This is my CD. I will introduce also by songs. Then, 40 phyla, many species. This is the most miracle animal in the world, I believe. Maybe you agree with me if you listen to my speech. Oh, sorry. This is a female mature Tortopsis, and you can look. This is eggs. You can small ball here. This is a gonad. This is a gonad. So this is a matured and female Medusa. Maybe lady or but this tiny Medusa, about 3 millimeter in diameter, very tiny, very cute, has a very powerful, strong nature in the world. Every animal will die after senescence or aging or born babies. Never stopped aging, and the tomb will in the future. You agree? But this also like this. It's inside gonads out, and the umbrella is shrinked. This is a senescence figure, very miserable. But artificially they stressed. Similar form we can easily make. Then super miracle happens. Now you see? Here, Medusa became meatball, about 1 or 2 millimeter in diameter. And usually, every Medusa melted in the sea and disappear, not smelling very bad. Just in the soup of sea. It's nutrition in the sea. But this Tortopsis Here, this is a meatball from here, like a plant. Strong or a root extend. Then, young body, we call this polyp. Not a cancer polyp in the stomach, in your stomach. It's a young polyp appeared. Then, this is a clone animal. Many polyps, young polyp grown on the meshwork of stone. So, one medusa becomes many individuals, 100 times or more. So, if back to young, it's very good to survive. Now, this one zooid begin to mature. Here, medusa, adult body appeared, then released in the sea. This is a very tiny, 1 millimeter young, immature medusa. It's spend a plankton life in the sea and matures. This is a diehard medusa miracle life cycle. Here I explain. There is a mother and father, like us, and mother releases eggs in the sea, father sperm in the sea, and then offspring, baby, planura, named planura appeared. It's like us, every multicellular animals. But I explained miracle back to young life cycle is here. Adult or immature medusa can become meatball, then back to young stage, like baby becomes young. Then grown up like a meshwork and a clone, and then release the medusa. And these are ordinary life cycle. These are extraordinary miracle life cycle. And it's not only once. It can repeat forever. So if stressed or senescence, they can back to young repeatedly. You believe it's miracle nature? You don't. Oh. I'm very surprised to know such a miracle life cycle, because my major work is to culture the medusa in the laboratory, so I can find with my Italian colleagues. Another very astonishing cycle is this immortal animal can take 3 ways of life. It's the most diverse life among the animals. They can produce baby, offspring. It's called planura. And this is the most miracle one. Back to young with strong and polyp. But the interesting is, this is my finding, first finding in the world is, these parts, gonads and stomach. This is the food. Miserable crustacean, small crustacean was eaten up by this part. This is very strange. Automatically fall down to the bottom of the sea, and they can survive. They can survive. And if they don't become meatball, they can live more life as such a very strange shape. Please, please, something. Okay. Sorry. So this can produce offspring and survive eating small food. It can survive about 6 months. But interesting is this part, very important part in the organisms, gonads or stomach part combined, never back to young. They must die as a medusa, adult body. They will die. Even if we carefully cultured or take care of them very much, they will die. Eaten and produce offspring, they will die like us. but other parts can back to young. It's very interesting. Now, I propose originality, original field of new synthesis of biology. It's coupled with biology, medicine, pharmacology, sociology, economics, everything welcome. My ultimate purpose is stop aging and, if possible, back to young, like tortoises. So we can study forever and without worrying about aging. It's very sad to know the aging because my parents, about over 80, one after another, some problems happened. It's very sad. But medicine is very good discourse in the world, I believe. But if medicine, biology, and pharmacology, every discourse combined, we can stop the last enemy of death. And in the young form, we can survive or die. It's my dream. This is, I believe, paradise Earth. And we must stop pollution and very healthy nature, like my CD, Life Earth. Very beautiful forest and field, sea and river, air, good sun. We can eat healthy food and shake hands and hands internationally, and we can live peacefully together. Maybe tortoises is a messenger from the God, I believe. So please know this miracle nature. And if you are interested in animals and you are one of the animal species, professional or unprofessional, I recommend to know the only one species of every species, organisms, and number one worker in the world, and tell the miracle nature to everyone. Like me, I tell you my favorite immortal tortoises, immortal medusa. Like me, please tell everyone. I like cancer very much. Cancer is a crab, or sea slug, or every fish, everything okay. Because 1,400,000 animals species live now, and they are very diversity like us. Black type, yellow type, white type, many races. So we have an indefinite time to study organisms. And organisms has a very miracle nature. Like birds, we cannot fly by ourselves. Very splendid. Now, new synthesis, I have a hint by my colleagues. It's old work, but this miserable immortal tortoises is cut into pieces. And what part contribute to back to young nature? Yes, cut into upper half or lower half, okay. Even if cut the body into two, they back to young easily. Only 2 days. Only 2 days back to young. Then, this is the tentacles. Many stinging cells, poisonous cells contained. We can sting easily. But tortoise is very cute and they sting, but we don't care. This can, okay, back to young. So, strange is tentacle base is okay. Very important part to back to young. But tentacle itself, never back to young. Also, this medusa is usually sandwich structure, and sandwich piece is never back to young, or outer and inner, no. And the inner and middle one, never. And strangely, I already explained, this part, gonad and stomach, most basic part for animals or creatures, never back to young. But strangely, here, this part can back to the young. So this is some meaning. But the study is not proceed, not much more from this point. So further detailed study waiting for you. My study is systematics, and recently in 205, I wrote a book. Sorry, in Japanese, but I give you my book on CD. After many new findings appeared. In southern Japan, this purple marks, I found a new type in Tortopsis. It's one of the evidence of diversity of organisms. Usually in the world, there is only one species of Tortopsis in the world. But in Japan, you know, in the Hokkaido, kelp forest to coral reef, Okinawa, very diverse environment and very good nature of peaceful places. And in southern Japan, I found new type, this one. And they can back to young. This is what is this? This is already described known type for all the researchers, my teacher and my teacher's teacher, 100 years ago in Japan. And this is called Tortopsis nutricula, and a worldwide species. But here, in southern Japan, never distributed, never appeared. It's a cold water species. And strangely, here, this is gonad. They can brood their babies. Very interesting, very kind mother. They never release eggs or sperms in the sea. They can brood their babies. And also, recent international work revealed molecularly they are two different species. This is a mitochondria G16S gene 80GC sequences is differences compared, and very reliable data is here. This is a new type. Very strangely, this is a southern Japan population one at Shirahama, my place, and also Kagoshima, Kyushu. This is a very different species. So morphologically, it's a small type, but molecularly, they are different species. This is another evidence of diversity. Then, this is Okinawa, like a Mediterranean species, Italy, Spain. It's another species, not much so different from morphology. Then the kind mother, big one, in large type in northern Japan is here. It's New Zealand, Tasmania group. So, morphologically and molecularly, these two are different species. And then third species appeared here. So, immortal medusa diversity, interesting stories now stopped. Then, very contrast, ephemeral, like a salmon or a mayfly animals. I can explain very briefly. This is a new species that I described very old times, like your age, 1979, new species. And here, very strangely, they never hands and foot, or stomach is very, very small, never eat food. Do you mean? this is only sexually reproduction only. So after they born, as become adult, they produce babies and then die. It's a very contrast to immortal tortoises. Like a cherry blossom, they die soon. But interesting is the polyp, the young stage, live in delicious shells. You can eat together. It's very, I think, nutritious. In Spain or Mediterranean place, you can eat together. This is a polyp. Here, different from tortoises, they have a foot, and they attach to the meat of shells, and move around, rotating clockwise or anti-clockwise. Here the life cycle of ephemeral Eugeminantia. The house is seashells. Have you ever tasted scallop? Very delicious. Here, oyster. You like oyster? You can eat it together. And see the muscles. Inside, this meat, on the meat, this polyp attached. And maximally 2,000 or more. Very nutritious, maybe, I think. But if you eat together, you can die soon. You're more good energy. And in the warm season, they produce medusa bud, and this medusa released in the sea. And after baby born, they die. This is my work at Shirahama, 1996. I observed. This is midnight, morning, noon, evening, night. And 100 muscles, how many medusa released from the host? I counted. Just counted. Very primitive work. But I cannot sleep here. I count. This is the number of medusa released from the 100 muscles, Mitchell's. Here, around 7 p.m., 8,000 Eugeminantia medusa released. I'm near to die, like Eugeminantia. But I can't sleep. At midnight, 3,000. Quite many, but in the midnight, 9,000, here I counted, and in the plankton net. Here, next day, the dry, 6,000, like this. So, very nicely, they release in a constant time. And after sexual reproduction, they die. After releasing eggs and sperms in the sea, they produce offspring production. Please remember, all jellyfish, including immortal tortoises, the eggs heart-shaped cleavage. So the eggs became 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 8. Heart-shaped. It's a characteristic of jellyfish early development. Then become, also we call it planura, 3 layers. Ectoderm, outer layer, and the innermost layer, endoderm. And this part is a jelly. But jelly is very thin, like polyp. Jelly is very big, only in medusa, for floating. This is my story. It's additional new knowledge. Now, environment is very polluted and very big problem. And the eco movement is very popular now. We must think about such a kind of problems. As a human being, the most advanced animal on Earth. Global warming becomes this Eugeminantia spread their distribution. Here I studied 1963, begins. So I studied about 45 years. And I like a journey. And from Hokkaido to Okinawa or every island I travel around and collected jellyfish or opened the mussels or seashells and distribution of any species researched. This is one example. Originality here, northern Japan, never they inhabited. But in the Kuroshio places, coast, very warm places, they distributed. This is Shirahama. My institute is here. The Seto Inland Sea is a very cold sea and never occurred in the last century. But this century, 202 or 7, I found here. And also on the Honshu area, facing the Sea of Japan, never occurred except this Tsushima Island, just near the Korea. Maybe some Korean people comes. Korea? No. It's cold sea. Sorry to say. No, I can't find. 16 years with Korean researchers, I continued to study, but only 50 kilometers, no occurrence. But here, recently, settled, and now spreading northways. It's a global warming because winter temperature is very now. Another topic I show you is this recent work. This is very beautiful, like stars in the night. This is Eugymnantia japonica. I described as a new species in the old times. But in the world, Mediterranean, there's another species, very closely related species here. It is the oral view, but it's a side view. Very similar. Very, very similar. But here, no stomach. It's one of the big difference between the two. And there is a big story. The diversity becomes introduction from the Mediterranean to Japan, together with mussels, host bivalves. It's a story already pointed out in the olden times. But now, this is a different two species. This GFP fluorescence demonstrate patterns very different. Here, Mediterranean species, marginal parts or gonad shining green. But in Japanese species, umbrella shines. So, morphologically, Medusa band is very difficult to distinguish, but if we GFP observed here, margin shinings. This is European species. But umbrella shining, this is Japanese species. Very clear. So GFP is medicine or pharmacology. It's a detector of cancer or many applied usage. But here, taxonomically or systematics, I can use recently. It's very good tools. And of course, you know, Nobel Prize, Equaria is a related species of Eugymnantia or Tritopsis. And many medusa have a GFP. So it's a new field for comparison of GFP pattern in many diverse jellyfish. But why they have GFP? Why the Equaria shines? No one knows. It's another question. Okay, my just in time. I have a lot of books with many specialists, especially encyclopedia of Japanese local fauna. Especially my major is Medusa or polyp. But recently I wrote by myself, using my money, my salary, not from given to the gift. I use my salary, all my books and CD. You're really lucky. I give you free. You're welcome. This is 100 essence story of Japanese or European immortal Medusa. Written in Japanese, but you can understand abstract in English. So you can understand now easily. And CD is attached in the book, in this CD. This is the Ediacaran creature, very oldest multicellular animals in the world. 5,600,000 years ago, they appeared as a first animal-like creatures. And this is for 1,045,000 species animal stories. I narrated and explained the characteristics of all animals very briefly and with a song. Also representative photo of every animal phyla. So now it's a big news. My Scarlet Medusa chorus, you already listened. Thank you. Do you have a karaoke in your country? In Japan, karaoke is very popular, and I like karaoke very much. And Uga, it's a very excellent machine. Uga, very excellent machine. In this year, soon, you can listen to Uga. So please, in your country, Uga Next is a very excellent machine, and I exercise very much. Very nice. Your voice is recorded in the machine, and you can sing another singer on the spot. And competition is okay. Number one in the Japan, or maybe world in the future. So, song is very good because very short poem. My heart is to you with short poem, not 30 minutes very tired speech. You can enjoy my speech or not, but if not good well, I can sing now. So lastly, please listen to my song. My low voice. Sorry to say, I am not a singer-songwriter. I just create a poem or lyrics and sing because I have no money, so famous singer cannot help me. It's a Scarlet Medusa chorus.僕の名前は紅クラゲ。ちっちゃいクラゲです。だけど僕には人にない特別な秘密があるんだ。僕は若返ることができるんだ。もうダメだと思ったらオリブに戻って123また人生をやり直すことができるんだ。みんなは一度だけの人生だから今を大切に生きてくれ。あ、それ便利ちょっとずれてましてごめんなさいね。音を聞いてないんです。あんまり勝手に歌っててすいません。Sorry. It's my figure, original figure. I present for you DVD. It's repeatedly resurrected. うちの名前はベニクラゲ。ちっちゃいクラゲです。だけどうちには人にない特別な秘密があるのよ。うちは若返ることができるのよ。 もうダメだわと思ったらポリプに戻ってワン、ツー、スリーまたまた人生をやり直すことができるのよ。みんなは一度だけの人生だから今を大切にしておくれ。あ、それ便利便利。First chorus is men. Second is same poet but women. Japanese very difficult. Same English but Japanese slightly different. You hear? Diversity of words. わしの名前はベニクラゲ。もうすぐポリプに戻れるぞ。今度遅れる人でございました。Recently, I have a teacher of high school student because in Japan, government take a fund to high schools and very good high school comes to our laboratory and I teach. And every teaching, I also sing like this. And they can, like you, very nice to hear. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your very inspiring speech and beautiful songs. We have time to only one question. So, are there any questions? Okay. Where?
Thank you. I really like your I did really enjoy your lecture. When I was in Kane a few years ago, you talked something about, this one is a little bit off topic, it's not really my question. So when I was in Cairns in Australia a few years ago, I saw quite lots of group of students, high school students. They were there for the Great Barrier Reef diving. So I hope I can see you one day there and talk to you about your study, your research a little bit deeper in that. My question is, you said we don't really understand what the GFP does. Why in your jellyfish you have GFP? So has anyone tried to knock out GFP and see what happened with your jellyfish?
Immortal triplices never have GFP, sorry to say. So why they don't have GFP? It's another mystery. I expect I distinguish 3 Japanese species, not formally designated, just in type I designate, like in my copy paper, 205, it's a new paper, but molecularly different and reproductively different. And so I expect GFP help to distinguish 3 species, like Eugene Lantier. But strangely, immortal minerals has no GFP. Maybe they cannot shine because they can back to young, so no need. Maybe I don't know. You okay? So some medusa lost GFP or they never have in their evolution. No one knows now because the GFP study just begins. Maybe corals have the GFP. Yes.
Thank you very much.